always understand that this is not imposed on you, that you must do like this. It is not compulsory. You must do it because you are like that. Now, because I have dropped all the desires, so I cannot even say that it is my desire to live a simple life. No, because you already said that I dropped the desire. So you became like that. Nobody decided, nobody dropped. How to become like that? It is very easy. Follow the path. Follow the instructions of the Guru. Surrender to the Guru. You will become like that. All the unnecessary desires and whatever activities will be dropped automatically. You always look to the Guru. My Guru is observing everything I do and think and say. Now automatically the unnecessary will drop because somebody is watching. And if you have a lot of love and respect for the Guru, you automatically will become like that. And ultimately you become like the Guru. And Guru is already an embodiment of divinity, hopefully, and you will become like that. Remember, the Guru is also living a simple life, and he has become simple, a minimalist. But from the point of view of others, it is not a simple life. It is highest kind of life, isn't it? Look at all the Gurus; they look very simple, and they lived on whatever donations and whatever people brought. But was their life really simple? No, simple here does not mean that it is boring. Their lives were biggest adventure in this universe. So simple does not mean uninteresting, boring and lifeless life. It means you're not doing something which is totally useless. So you're simply doing that which is necessary, and it is not compulsory. When I say all these things, I do not assume that it is a rule. No, it is not a rule. Do what you want to do. Choose your own path and choose your own guru. Choose your own ideals and goals. The only problem that can happen is you do mindlessly which somebody else told you to do. That is the only problem that can happen. Somebody told you to live a simple life and you left everything. You are living in a jungle. There is no joy in that. If you are not enjoying, that simple life is not really simple. It has become a complication now. You want to get rid of that life. So always do that for which you are born. Fulfill your pre-allocation. Action, consequence, or karmic law. It is so certain that we call it a law. It was my decision. It was my action to join that kind of environment, to become a part of that, whatever that is. Society, culture, country, company, marriage. It was my decision. Now face the consequences. You cannot blame anybody. This is the pattern in the illusion. Now, because of these patterns and these laws, it appears to be true. Now it does not look like an illusion because whatever I do has a consequence. Can you call it illusion? That is why many people don't like the word illusion, because for them the illusion means that whatever I do, nothing should happen. Like in a dream, if I stand in front of a running train, nothing happens because I wake up. That's what worse that can happen. But remember, the consequence is also illusion. There are no true consequences. If the action is an illusion, the consequence is an illusion. And because it seems to follow a pattern, we call it a law. The law is also appearing. Right now, right here, this looks like that it is appearing in a lawful way. And we call it ordered experience. Instead of disorder, there is some order. Why is there an order? Now, you need to understand the mind here. If anybody is interested, this all I've already told in many videos, that because the constitution of the mind is based on self-organization, it is programmed to perceive order. It is all there, in the illusion, everything is there. Order, disorder, semi-order, everything. But because the mind is assembled like this, it is a result of self-organization of patterns. It only recognizes patterns. In software, we say that it is a pattern matching machine. It matches the pattern. So it sees the patterns everywhere. And it sees that this is what is happening. Whatever actions are done, some consequences there. What is the consequence? It is not determined. It is not fixed. It is not in our control. But some of the actions are in our control. Not all. Some of the actions are in our control. At least you can control the most important actions of your life. For example, education, job, marriage, children, society, country, your spiritual path, your guru. All these important things, at least they are in control. Why do you keep doing it randomly? Not you. Why do people keep doing it randomly? Ignorance. There is nobody to tell them. There is nobody to guide them, to show them the right path. Ignorance. And they learn. There's nothing wrong there. They learn from the consequences. And the next time they decide correctly. And that is also a pattern. Nothing unusual happens. And it does not matter what you decide. It does not matter how you act. And the consequence will happen according to some kind of universal law. That is not in the human domain. Humans don't have any control over anything, including the consequence of their action. Many don't believe these things, but check your own experiences. Sometimes you act in good faith. You want everybody to be happy. You want yourself to be happy. Many times it does not happen, isn't it? Why? Because you did something good does not mean that the consequence will be good. So good and bad are not really present. You can see here that it is our assumption that I did something good. And then we assume that something good will happen. And that is also a double assumption, isn't it? That is double ignorance. So action means simply change, and consequence means that there will be another change. The law of cause and effect. So now some people will say, just now you said there are no cause, no effect. No, they are not real. It appears like this. Anything can cause anything. You need a sufficiently complicated, sufficiently complex system, and then any consequence is possible, which cannot be predicted. This whole universe has everything in it. It is ultimate complexity, isn't it? Because everything is happening. So can we predict anything? No. There is no point here. There is no meaning in saying that. So in a limited scope of our lives, action and consequences are happening, and that is what your experience is. It is correct. You have seen the pattern. Now immediately any intelligent person will say, how can I use this knowledge for myself? Simply by learning from your own actions. Keep learning from your own actions. This is the good use. And there is another kind of disproportion, that you spend 20 years working on something, next day it fails. Why? We are assuming that a small action will have a small consequence. A big action happening for 20 years will have a big consequence. No, that is also an assumption. Say you're driving at a speed of 150 kilometers per hour. Now your reaction time must be like 10 millisecond, 1 millisecond, like hitting the brakes or turning your steering if something comes on your way. It is a small action. 1 millisecond is very small in this whole universe. However, if that is not done or something else happens, what is the consequence? Very big, whole lifetime. Just like I said, keep learning. You are discovering the illusion. Sometimes it looks like there is no order. It is completely random. But no, simply our beliefs are destroyed. By each experience we get, our past belief that we assumed is destroyed. That is how it is. So like I said, only few people progress spiritually. But there is something else that is happening in this world. Simply by being born in this illusion, simply becoming a part of the illusion, that creature, human being, starts learning. How do they learn? Like this. Action, consequence. They progress. It is not that they don't progress. Even those who are not spiritual, they also progress, because in reality, nothing is not spiritual. That if you're talking, everything is spiritual. So they also progress. However, it is unguided. They are not following any path. They are not following any instructions. So their progress is very slow. How slow? Thousands of lifetimes. And on the spiritual path, if you have a good guru, if you get the knowledge, and if you practice properly, your progress will happen very fast, 1,000 times faster. So many seekers have this life goal of spiritual progress. And the spiritual progress, the meaning is different for different people, you see. There can be two kinds of pre-allocation. One is cutting the ties, bonds. The second is fulfilling the desires. Normally, we don't talk about the first kind. We only say, okay, tell me what is your desire. Tell me what is your purpose of the life goal. And do that. You will enjoy it. There will be a lot of energy in that. You will not feel lazy and it will happen effortlessly. We paint a positive picture. But there is a dark side of pre-allocation because everything is dual in the illusion, good and bad. So that means there are lessons hidden in the pre-allocation. You will learn these things. Last time you could not cut the bonds. This time it will become worse, and you see, this is a story. That's why I said do not believe all these things. But we can invent this kind of story to explain the illusion that is happening right now. So cut your bonds. How do we know that they are going away? Because events like this will happen. Nothing will go as per your desire. Then finally you give up, and the last thing that remains is letting go. You say, I don't want this thing now. And that is the cutting of the bond, karmic bond.